All right, so there's been more news about the next balance patch, which is going to hit on November 18th. So we don't know the full patch notes, but they still gave us a lot of info. They dropped a new bundle today, so let's just go through, do a quick little news roundup, and let's talk about the future of the game and how the game's doing. All right, so first off, they're announcing that they are working on a system to hotfix things. Basically, getting adjustments out without having to go down for maintenance. And right now, they're only doing this for a single Jinx move, which is back 4H to persist even when the move is interrupted. Like right now, it's the like effect of the move stays out even when the move is interrupted, and it's not supposed to do that. And then supposedly, it should already be fixed. And just to make sure that it doesn't break anything else. I know this is part of what made it so that Yasuo got bugged. That was the last patch that happened where they were trying to change Yasuo's like how Yasuo JS2 worked and how his JS1 like the dash in the air, and it ended up like really screwing things up. And apparently that was an issue with how they updated it. So it makes sense that they would try to test this and like make sure it works better. But yeah, so this one is already out. As far as I know, it works perfectly. But they did a little update here on balance and talked about what the balance patch on November 18th is going to include. Alright, so since there's been a lot of discussion around the meta, we also wanted to let you in on our balance patching plans for the next few months. But first, there are two things we want to reiterate. Before we make a change, we want to make sure it actually makes the game better. I think this is like the most important thing. A lot of people are very quick to be like, oh, Echo is too good, or Yasuo is too good, or Teemo's too good. That is one thing that's pretty easy to see quickly sometimes. It's very often that people are wrong, by the way. Like, people thought Blitzcrank was going to be the best, and then people thought Ahri was awful, like even me, and we ended up being completely wrong. But I think the most important thing is not necessarily that people are going to be completely off always. Like, even if they are off sometimes, and I think that's why they also nerfed Blitzcrank, right? Which ended up having to now be reverted. But what I'm trying to say is basically, it's not always about accuracy. Like, oh, do we know if Echo's broken or not? Right now, we're pretty goddamn sure he is. We could still be wrong, but I think another thing that's really important to do is to make sure that, like, just because you nerf Echo, does that make the game better instantly? It could, if in theory, like, Echo still works perfectly, just a little bit weaker. But it's really hard to know exactly what to nerf, exactly what to buff on a bad character. Especially in a game like this one, because team games have so many different things, right? So, like, if you nerf Echo's assist, then you might end up killing some of his other teams. If you end up buffing, like, let's say, Braum's movement, then maybe he's, like, completely broken when he's played with Teemo. You know, stuff like that. Like, there's so many small factors that can break the game. So I really don't think it's as obvious, and they go into this here, where it's like, oh, just nerf Echo, make him do 10 less damage whenever hit. Like, that's such a bad way, and it won't actually make the game better at all. Before we make a change, we want to make sure it actually makes the game better. That might sound obvious, but it's easy to overlook how much thought and testing go into making a single tweak. We need to think carefully about all our gameplay systems fit together, take the time to make sure any changes feel right. Yeah, this is a very important thing. I would already say that they kind of, with some of the Yasuo changes they did, the game makes him feel significantly worse to play. Like, his JS1 just feels very sluggish now, and his 5S1, like the stab, feels very sluggish, and it's not animated properly right now. Like, they literally have to remake the animation to adjust for how much extra lag it has. I still agree with the changes, by the way, but, like, it's important to remember that these are the changes, these were the best changes they could think of. There's probably a ton of other changes that they have thought of that might make sense balance-wise, but would make the game feel awful. And then yeah, you squash any unintended bugs that come with them. Yeah, again, they literally had Yasuo JS to do like unscale damage last patch. 2. We're cautious about being overreactive. Metas take time to develop, and what feels overpowered at first can sometimes balance out once players find new counter strategies. We'd rather give you all time to adapt before jumping in with big adjustments. That said, if something starts making the game feel stale or unfair, we'll step in to bring things back in line. I think this is very, very important to remember. I don't know. Apparently everyone in Gold and like Emerald are very sure that Echo Yasuo is somehow ruining the game and the only reason they're losing. Even though those characters are not even good at that level. Like, they're fine, don't get me wrong, but like, they're not broken at all at Gold or Emerald level, right? Like, Echo Yasuo, Ahri, Timur, those characters, being the 4 best characters, is only true at Challenger level. Not even Grandmaster, I wouldn't even say. So, that doesn't mean that people don't think that. Like, I know that's a controversial thing to say, that like metas are different at different levels, but it's just true. Especially when you're talking about like the characters that are the best being like high mobility, low health, technical characters. Oftentimes those scale very well with skill level. And I think it's really important to remember that things just take a lot of time, especially for team games, especially for complicated games, and this game is both of those things. There's so many different factors. I mean, for example, I already think that they might be patching a bit too fast on some of these things, because nerfing Jinx so that she can't get a throw combo, for example, it's like, yeah, it turned out that Jinx was only really good because of double down, and you know, everyone thought that Ahri was bad and Jinx was broken, and it turns out that we were completely wrong, right? Jinx was really good with double down, but like she was not broken at all. And I think this will just keep happening. Like, we'll look back at what we thought of this patch and we'll be like, Vi was actually the best character. You know, probably not, but like there's a solid chance. And I think, especially with how fast the game is developing still and how new we all are to it, I think it's really, people are doom and gloom very, very fast. And if you played a lot of different team games, this is actually a very common thing that like in the beginning, everyone picks the same teams because people haven't figured out how to do all the teams, and then eventually it gets more diverse. You could see this, for example, in Marvel 3, where everyone was picking like Wesker in the beginning, even though Wesker's not even close to the best character. For example, in the beginning of Dragon Ball, in 1.0, everyone was convinced Cell was the best character, and looking back at it, he was not even close. It was all like Adult Gohan, Android 16, Gotenks was broken from day one, and so on, right? Like Vegeta, Kid Buu. People thought Android 21 was broken in the launch version too, and she ended up not being good at all. Like, there's a lot of things that you eventually figure out. That is not to say that they shouldn't change anything, but I think it's very important that if you're someone who's sitting there whining about Echo Yasuo, I think it's important to remember just how new the game is and how there's always going to be a best character and always going to be a most popular character. So it is important to, rather than just like revolving door, like, oh, Echo's the best, Echo to the bottom, Braum, like Giga buff Braum, like that doesn't really work for a fighting game. It creates really, 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 really bad feeling games, like much worse than anything that you're normally used to. Like a fighting game character going from the best to the worst would basically means like removing entire mechanics and like just completely destroying the character. Often in a way where it's like really hard to fix them. You can see this, for example, with Sato. But on the opposite end, if you take the worst character in the game, so let's say Braum right now, or Blitzcrank, and you try to make them the best in one patch, you end up with like Potemkin, right, in Season 4, or all these different games where like it makes insanely toxic, and there's only a couple ways you can do that. Where it's like generally it's like introducing a completely new mechanic or move to the character that just like completely changes how they play, or like a rework which also changes how they play. So some of the people that liked Potemkin before might not like him now, all this stuff, right? Or you just juice the numbers to fucking to the heavens, right? You could see this, for example, with how they changed Sin. Sin was one of the worst characters, then became one of the best by just increasing his numbers. Like, oh, his backdash goes full screen now. Oh, he kills from this. Oh, he kills from this. Oh, he kills from this. Like, it's very easy to just say, why don't they just buff the bad characters and nerf the good characters? But actually doing this takes time. And I think it's really crazy how we haven't even had like, it's been like less than a month as of recording since the last big balance patch. And I don't think anyone knows exactly what the meta of the game is. Anyone that thinks they do is honestly just full of shit. Like, I'm arguably one of the best, if not the best player right now. And if you asked me what the best team is, there's like 10 different teams I could name. And I would say that the chance that the best team is actually among the best 10 teams that I think is not even 100%, right? Like, there could be many teams that I just can't think of right now because I'm not good enough. And I don't know enough that could actually be the best character. But yeah, basically, this is a big rant, but I just wanted to give you my thoughts on balance a little bit. I think it is better to go a little bit slower. There's going to be some people on Reddit being like, oh my god, you're just saying that because you're currently one of the best and you don't want your, like, this is just propaganda so that you can stay the best. Like, bro, give me a break, man. Like, you really think you're going to nerf me and Sonic Fox out of the game by like nerfing our characters? Like, you think we won't just pick up the new character? Like, really? Like you think that's what I'm afraid of? Like, obviously I like a lot of the top tiers right now, but like, not everything is purely beneficial, right? Like, I also just want the game to be diverse and to be the best it possibly can, because for me, even more, like, yeah, I earn a little bit on prize money right now, but like, if the game dies and it does poorly on streams, I lose more money than, you know, I would gain by having, I don't know, Yasuo or Echo or some character I like be currently a little bit stronger, right? Especially because I can just pick up the new top tier. Like, you can't nerf people that can just pick up any character. Not long term, at least. Anyway, the TLDR for them and for me is, if it seems we're not reacting right away, it's because we want changes that last, not just quick fixes to create new problems. Now, onto our upcoming patch plans. Our next patch, 1.03, will be released November 18th and will require a short maintenance downtime. So this is like not like the other patch where it's just a hotfix. This patch will be focused on balance and bug fixes. Okay, so more bug fixes, nice. With fewer champion adjustments than in our last one. Our November 17th patch notes will have a detailed breakdown of what you can expect. Adjustments to some of our high performers. Echo, Teemo, Yasuo. Ahri, strangely absent here. This could be because people have realized later on that Ahri is among the best. I personally put Ahri as number 2. I think she's definitely top 4. Anyone that puts her below top 4 is crazy. So it could very well be that Ahri is going to be the best now, but you know, we'll get to more of it. We still don't know the actual full notes. She could still get some small nerfs, or she could just be nerfed by other things. Blitzcrank buffs. This is interesting because I already felt like Blitzcrank was better than Braum, honestly. It's also interesting because Braum is not mentioned here. I think the developers think Braum is a bit better than most other people do, which they could honestly be right with. There's not that many people playing Braum. A small number of core system changes. So these say a small number but the small number of the system changes could still be super impactful. For example, nerfing double assist or nerfing super tag or nerfing changing projectile staying out on hits or screen lock. These are all just one change, but they could be massive imbalance wise, right? Personally, I hope one of the system changes they add is making supers scale the combo more. I think that's like a really, really, really big thing for me. Like all the best characters right now, that's one of the main things that I want adjusted for them. That they can use like supers in the middle of a combo, and then like just do way more damage than they're supposed to. And obviously Fury, I want nerfed. Right now, like when I played against Sonic Fox in our grand finals, like so many of the games were just decided by pure Fury. Either way. So yeah. Various bug and crash fixes, always nice. Adding resistance allowing Sandstorm Echo to the rotating sword. Okay. I think it's really good that they're being so transparent. I had someone be like, "Wow, like now it's just annoying because now I know Echo's gonna be nerfed, but I don't know what the nerfs are." So now I feel like annoyed waiting. But then like, let's be real here. If there was no update, people would be like, "Oh my God, Riot is leaving us out to dry. How could they not say anything when there's one top 8 where there was 8 echoes? Oh my God, how can they not talk about super tech? Like, either way, you're fucked, right? And here's the thing. We don't, this is just like general direction. This is not necessarily for a hyper competitive player as me, just saying some adjustments. This is basically them saying, look guys, I know you guys are whining a lot about these characters. Changes are coming, but they take time. I don't think people realize just how hard it is to balance a fighting game and how long it takes to like implement changes. The turnaround is not as fast as you might think, and it's not as easy as hotfixing in like League or TFT, especially for such a new game. And I imagine that still a ton of their work is still on pushing this game to console and pushing out Season 1. So this would probably be one of the last patches, in my opinion, before you get Season 1. But I think that's fine. I don't think we need huge nerfs now, and then another round of huge changes for Season 1. I think if you do that, then you risk just making the game worse, like in Alpha Lab 2. So yeah, I'm pretty interested. Overall, I think the game is actually doing good, and the game is really fun to play at low levels and top levels still. There's just a lot of people right now that are exiting the honeymoon phase where everything is awesome, nothing is ever bad, and now they're crashing hard into like the valley of like, oh my God, I can't believe a tag game has someone running away from me and calling their assist, or oh my God, Echo is so broken here in gold. Like, he is the one personally making, he's the one person responsible for everything. And in general, I think it's very important if you feel like everyone's just bitching, it's very important to remember that this is just online culture. Most people that play the game, they just play the game, they're happy. Twitter and Reddit, all these things, they all feed of negativity, and they all feed of like engagement and hot takes and whining. It's just a lot easier to respond to and thus create more engagement than saying, yeah, I'm having a really good time. And here's the thing, I'm having a good time playing the game, man. I'm still learning a lot. I still think there's a lot more to be discovered, but that's never going to make a headline. Anyway, that's all for me right now. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for the patch? Are you excited for Season 1? I am, but I can't wait to see more of the notes. And I appreciate Riot being very transparent. Like, the other game, I am currently qualified for Arc World Tour in Strive, and they have announced Strive 2.0 many months ago, and we have not heard a single word about Strive 2.0. We do not know if there's going to be any more patches to Strive before 2.0. We don't know when. We know 2.0 is coming out sometime next year, but no info on what it will do. No info on what month. Nothing. So it's hard to. It can be easy to forget sometimes, but like the development communication from Riot compared to some of these Japanese companies, like even Capcom, even Tekken 8, it's just insane how much better it is. And you know, this patch is coming like a month after the first early access patch. So I'm commending them on working so hard. I hope the patch will be good. I hope it's not like overreacting, whatever. But either way, I know they're working hard. So even if you're disappointed, I would say have a little bit of faith. It's still very early days. Most games go 6-12 months without major patches. So don't expect this patch to be like the one that fixes everything, but I think it will be another solid patch in the right direction. All right, that's it. Goodbye.